we got to have a moment of honesty, and you guys need to come clean on the record. Okay, this is directed towards you two, because you two were throwing a little bit of shade over here on my boy Russell Brand. Russell Brand gave his heart to the Lord, and if I quote you guys correctly, and if we have to go back to the clips and play it, we will. Y'all were like, well, the jury's still out. We're not sure about it. Is he a cultural Christian? Did he just do this for, to get his name back in some shine again? Or what was he really doing? But, are we going to be honest about that?
So you're putting 5 on him right now.
I'm putting 5. I'm putting 5 on. Yeah, I'm putting 5 on it right now. I'm buying.
Yeah, you still in the negative for Kanye. He could have put a lot of money down to come out that hole.
I bet the house, boy. Yeah. I bet the house on Kanye. You did me wrong, bro. Come on, man. I bet the house. Somebody say you bet the farm. I bet the farm. The farm. I am. I've got a long way to go, bro. Hey, welcome to Not a Fitted Podcast. It's your boy Anthony right here, the conservative Chicano. I got my guys fresh off that Olympic gold win, right? You guys watch that? You guys watched that yesterday? The men's basketball Olympic gold. Did you watch the ladies win? Both teams were playing France. Is France that good, or did they get a good run? What do we got here?
I think there's some home cooking to get France in the championship.
We got our second Olympic controversy. The first was the boxer, but you're saying there was some home cooking. What type of home cooking? We cooked the books?
Well, it sounded like I was talking to a guy at the gym today. He said in the women's game it was R5 versus 7 or 8 because of the referee. So either way,
all the refs.
Oh, yeah. France women got into the finals too. Yeah, they doing something. They
see.
Ain't France ain't that good at basketball.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Sorry, I didn't know you felt so strongly about that.
No, I know nothing about it. Okay. But I'm sure France is that good at basketball.
So I noticed that we won both games, so we captured that goal. But I didn't really watch any of it. I did. X had blown up about Steph Curry's last 2 minutes of the game, so I literally watched the last 2 minutes of the game to see what everybody was talking about. So
they said the women haven't lost since 1992.
Correct.
That's pretty impressive.
That is. Good.
I was happy that Noah Laus that he won bronze in the 200. I was happy. I don't like that dude. I was like, yes.
Well, he blamed it on COVID then.
Life comes at you fast. He guaranteed that 200 win.
He guaranteed it.
When he won COVID, got it here.
When he won the 100, he said, well, I'm going to get that 200. And I was like,
this was the harder one.
Bro, I was like, that's why you don't do the talking until you get it, right? But anyway.
He's jumping around beforehand. They got to go away in the wheelchair. Like, bro, get out of here.
It's the irony of life, isn't it? It's the irony of life. So,
but as a dad, I appreciated it because it gave me a lot of things to talk to my kids about.
Oh, okay. Sportsmanship. So, really?
Run your mouth and see what happens.
Oh, okay. So
you want to talk now or you want to talk later? There's a lot of different.
So there's a lot of nuggets. FOFA. Right around and find out. Yep. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's good. Well, hey, here on the podcast. Here on the podcast, we teach you everything here, apparently. All right. These are life lessons. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Once again, our subscribers are growing. Shout out to David in Gilbert, Arizona. He said this is where he's watched from. Remember, if you get people to tune in and to subscribe, please shout out where you're watching this from and let us know, because then we'll turn around and we'll call out where you're watching this from. So don't forget to share the links. I'm going to ask for a special favor. You guys can find us on Instagram, the Not Offended Podcast on Instagram. Go ahead and follow us there. We post a lot of our clips there. And I was talking to Nate, who helps produce the show, and we were just talking about, man, you could track we feel like we're being shadow banned of some things for the things that we talk about here, because we were doing really well, and it's just we fell off a cliff.
What does that mean? Shadow ban?
Well, when you start talking about stuff they don't want you to talk about, they turn down your algorithm. They kind of start suppressing you, and it's really crazy. It all started after the Harrison Buckner. So here we go. But on YouTube we've been growing like crazy, so I want to thank everybody for that. So on that, we always talk about culture and its influence on the church, but we take a moment to go through the comments. And so we have a comment. Bishop, you ready for that comment? First off, who gave us the comment? I know we do these handles, and it's I don't know who these people are, but we appreciate you. And here's the comment:
the short trucker.
The short trucker.
Yeah, they got a picture of a truck, so I'm assuming he's a trucker and he's short.
Are we safe? Is that safe? I feel like that's safe.
It's his name.
Yeah, he's a shorter guy and he has a truck.
How do you know he's a guy?
Okay, it's shorter they them and
That's a good assumption. Most strikers are guys.
I assume as well.
Okay. You're just trying to play the other side of the coin. Thank you, Mike. Already starting us off with some offense. This is good. Go ahead. What we got?
He says, keep men out of women's sports. You're either a man or a woman, period. It's time to speak up and stand for what God created. If the left can have a voice to be heard, then we have one too. Why can't we have one too?
Amen.
That was good. I thought that was a great comment. I think he brings up a very valid point. I want to hear from you guys. But if people on the left are able to claim that men can bleed too, men can menstruate. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. And, men can nurse. Men can lactate. I don't know if you guys were aware of that. Men can have babies. And so if on the left, you look confused. Why are you confused?
Well, seahorses, right? Male seahorses, I think, actually have the kids. Outside of that,
you look really confused. I don't understand why the look on your face was so confusing.
Because these people, man. Sorry.
Okay. But my whole point was he was saying is these are the declarative statements that the left makes unequivocally, unashamedly, and rather outspoken, and demonstratively in some cases. He's saying, why can't people on the right say, hey, no, men should not play in women's sports, period. And I think in what I hear him say is, can't we be more vocal about that? I don't know. What do you? I thought he had a very valid point.
Yeah, everyone should have a voice. You should be able to be heard. And when you disagree with something, you should be able to say it.
Yeah, it's the left's take on everything that doesn't agree with them. They just put it under the umbrella of hate speech. So if you don't agree with them on immigration and you say something counter to what they believe in, hate speech. When it comes to marriage, if you voice an opinion that's opposite of theirs, hate speech. Like they just always say hate speech. So that's the way they try to get you to shut up. And I think one of the reasons that works for some people is that most people don't want to be labeled a bigot, or they don't want to be labeled somebody who hates others. And so instead of being labeled, a hater per se, people will just shut up.
Aren't facts just facts though? I mean, I was sitting there and
not anymore.
Well, hear me out. I was trying to at least watch some of all the events, like just 5-10 minutes of it. I watched a little bit of badminton, which by the way, I was very impressed. That was a super fast, going back and forth type of a game. I watched a little bit of the surfing. I watched, I watched even the kayak races, bro. That looked fun. That was more than I expected. I watched the canoeing. I watched a little bit of almost everything I did that I could find. Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. And when I was watching all of this, I literally was asking myself this question: if you allowed guys who really believe that they were women, but we know they're a guy, to really participate in all of those sports, if we just really allowed that, would there be any female winners at all? So really, instead of the people on the left always we want to push forward another 10, 20 years, we want to be progressive. Really, you would be regressing, not progressing. If you allowed even the worst of the NBA players to try out for the women's Olympic team, there would be no women on that Olympic team. Just take your sport is what I'm getting at. Even the slowest 400 runner would still beat the fastest 400 female runner. You see where I'm going with this? So I was watching all these, even in fencing, they were just wrestling, fencing, canoeing, you name it, rock climbing, all these things, skateboarding, surfing, breakdancing. Did you know they had breakdancing in the Olympics?
Yeah, breakdancing, but not baseball.
That's weird. Yeah, that's just off. Yeah, that's off. But my point is, would there be any females winning in any sports? And if I'm wrong, I mean, I did the swimming. I watched some of the swimming. They wouldn't even be close. No female would make a team.
Maybe some type of gymnast thing where you need to be small, light, and limber. Okay, so but basically we just eliminated because they were celebrating how many women participated this year, how many women medaled. They were celebrating all that, and they called it the Olympics of the women this year. If you allow men to come over in those sports, that's never going to happen again. There will be no Olympics of women. It'd be mainly men.
Well, they'll claim they're women.
Yeah, ESPN highlighted the dude boxer. Like, it was a great feat for him from Kazakhstan or something, like Albania or something.
Algerian. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what they're.
But am I
say that?
I'm just asking, am I wrong or is that factual?
Well, you would be right in saying that biological men would go and dominate every sport outside of maybe 2%. You would be wrong in saying that they would be men in the sense of all these people would say that they're actually women.
So going back to his comment, why are we so timid to voice the facts? That's what I don't understand.
I think what I said, I think that they try to label you as this bigot and people don't like wearing that label.
Yeah, people just choose sides. This is the side I'm on, so I got to stick with that side. I think most people disagree with it. They don't want that. They don't want that to happen.
Okay.
But they don't want to voice it because they want to stick to their side.
Gotcha. Well, I just think common sense needs to come back. It needs to be a staple in our daily communication, and it needs to be able to be amicable, where you just go, hey, listen, you cannot have women in female sports, because if we do, then women's sports would cease to exist. That's just how it is. Like it, love it, hate it. It's just what it is. Well, they identify. It doesn't matter how you identify. I'm telling you right now, women's sports would cease to exist because they are not women. You could just respectfully disagree. I just want to encourage all of you out there. You might be having coworkers or family members. You could just respectfully disagree and just say, this is the facts. If you look at the facts are the facts. Look at the women's world record times. Look at the men's world record times. It's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. So I want to show you guys a clip getting to our sci-fi segment. I'm going to give you my opinion later, but you guys haven't seen this clip. So I just want some first thoughts, first reactions from this clip.
UFOs and aliens?
Bro, we're going to run it back. You already know me.
No. All right.
Listen, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
But,
okay. Okay, let's get some first thoughts on that. What you got?
Is that the Palestinian flag?
That was.
They should be worried.
Yeah. They should be worried.
I'd be screaming too if I was over there.
Hold on, what'd you think it was? What'd you think?
I don't know. I think the video looks fake, kind of the way it cuts. I'm like, is that? I don't know. It seemed weird the way the video.
Is that cut. Jesus?
I don't think it was Jesus in the clouds.
Oh, you think it was Jesus? Was it Michael the Archangel?
I don't think so either.
What'd you think it was then?
I don't know.
Some smoke dust?
AI?
What'd you think it was?
What do they call those scientific generated clouds we were talking about last?
Cumulus nimbus clouds?
No. The ones
cloud seeding?
Cloud seeding. There you go. It's cloud seeding.
It's the only clouds I remember. Cumulus nimbus. What'd you think it was, though? Was that Michael the Archangel? Was it Gabriel?
No. That could just be some crazy looking clouds.
Okay, hold on. Buying or selling?
Selling, buying what?
Buying that that's real or selling that it's fake? Would you?
Oh, I'm selling that it's fake. But if I'm them and I'm, pro Palestine, I should be buying. And that's
What do you got? Buying or selling?
No, it's not real.
Why not? What are you talking to me? What do you think it is?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Okay,
some clouds moving around.
Okay.
I don't know. It ain't Jesus.
I just want you to know that when I see this stuff, I think of you guys all the time. I'm like, I just want to know. I just want to know what Deshaun's gonna say right now. Hey, one time we're gonna get a real clip. We're gonna get a real clip, and it's gonna be something real, and you're gonna be speechless. That's all I'm gonna say.
Until Jesus shows up, I ain't tripping. And he coming in the body. He coming in no cloud.
Not in the cumulus nimbus.
We're gonna see the piercings in his hands.
So you're not buying it.
No, I'm not buying.
All right. Well, I think of you guys at least. Okay. Hey, leave it in the comment box. You guys buying or selling? Was that real? Was it AI? Was it something going on? We don't know. So I wanted to introduce a new segment. I think you guys are going to like this. I want to talk about yesterday. I brought up a particular verse, and I just wanted to dialogue about this verse a little bit and kind of get you guys' take on what it is. So, Bishop, why don't you go ahead and read us that verse found in 1 Corinthians 4?
All right. 1 Corinthians 4, verse 14 says, I'm writing this not to shame you, but but to warn you as my dear children, even if you had 10,000 guardians in Christ, you did not have many fathers, for in Christ I have become your father through the gospel. Therefore I urge you to imitate me. For this reason, I have sent you Timothy, my son, who I love, who is faithful to the Lord. He will remind you of the way of life in Christ Jesus, which agrees with what I teach everywhere in every church.
So yesterday I taught on this, and if you guys wanted to listen to the sermon, you can find our church YouTube account and find it. And I talked about how you have all these voices. He says you have 10,000 voices, speaking into your life, but you have very few fathers. And I was talking about that, about spiritual authority and about having mothers and fathers in the faith, not actually to take the place of your earthly mother and father, but just spiritual parents in the faith who are there to instruct you and to guide you and to give you a role model to look up to. So I was thinking about that, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion. You guys heard me talk about it yesterday. Did you have any thoughts about that, or did you have anything you wanted to add, or even anything you wanted to take away from what you heard yesterday, or what you feel like Paul was saying in that verse?
One thing that I shared with the congregation is, us as a church, like our wins or people actually doing well. Not just the church growing in the number of people who are coming, but the people who are actually here. Like, I had a guy, I think last week, not this past Sunday, but one Sunday before, tell me, he was like, man, never in my life have I been reading my Bible every day. This is the first time ever in my life. He's like, I grew up in church. I was like, no one ever told me I should be doing this. And just a spiritual growth that he's having as a, man that's in his 40s. So it's like, man, I told him, like, this is the win. I was like, this can't be measured. I can't go, put this on the plaque. But you saying this is where we're winning, when you're actually taking heed to what we're asking people to do.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, there was a few different things that you were sharing yesterday that for me, I was like, I could see it in my life, and then I could also see it like from the seat that we sit in. And one of the things that I think is hard to see is when people choose to not have that spiritual father as a covering, or spiritual mother as a covering, and then they just kind of just go about life without that relationship, without. You had mentioned in one of the services, when the winds come and the rains come, and being able to have somebody who will be in your corner to kind of just give you some calm in the storm, be able to help you navigate through life, and so knowing how true that is in my own personal life, but then also being able to see people who lean into that makes it hard when you see people who choose not to lean into it. And so, and as pastors, like, you can't force, I'm sure some people probably do, but that's just not right nor healthy. You can't force people to allow you to have that position in their life. They're going to choose to allow you to have that position in their life. And so when you see people who adhere to that and you get to see the growth, it's amazing. And then vice versa, when you see people who, you had mentioned church hopping a little bit, and people who don't have that covering and they choose not to allow somebody to have that position in their life, and then they're constantly just getting beat up, and you see them go like this, up and down, up and down, up and down.
I made a comment yesterday, and I was, I don't know if I was second guessing myself or if I was just internally arguing, like trying to play both sides. But I made that comment yesterday that if you are not submitted in a house, meaning a church, and you're not submitted to authority, then I think you know what comment I'm talking about. I questioned your regeneration. I questioned are you really born again? And I'm not saying, are you churched? I'm asking, are you born again? Is the Spirit of Christ alive in you? And is the Spirit of Christ leading you to all truth? In other words, there's going to be something there, because even the disciples were discipled. And even those who followed the disciples had disciples. And so I really questioned, first, your regeneration. Are you really born again? Or is this just something you're going through? Number two, I said, if you are born again, then this is something that has been underdeveloped in you. You're overexposed in some areas, but you're underdeveloped. And therefore, when the winds come and the rains come, you haven't quite surrendered and submitted. You haven't quite grown where you were planted. In order to grow where you're planted, you got to really immerse yourself in the ecclesia, in the church, and the called out ones. You got to immerse yourself there. What did you think about that comment when I said that? Do you think I was going a little too far, or did you see where I was coming from and just really challenging the people like, hey, I'm really here to question whether or not the Spirit of Christ is alive in you. Because if it is, then there's going to be a longing and a yearning to be discipled.
It's a strong statement. I understand where you're coming from.
I did mention it was a strong statement, though. Remember, I said, hey, this is a strong statement. Yeah. So we'll go ahead.
I do understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I wouldn't say it, but I personally, but I don't necessarily disagree with it. Right. I think it's case by case. So it's like,
yeah, go ahead.
In some people's lives, like again, if you don't want to fall under, let anyone lead or guide you, the walking your faith out, then it's like, do you even want to walk in your faith? So I'm saying the outworking of it. So I understand what you're saying. And especially you'll see that in people's lives. Like, okay, if they keep church hopping because people call them out, they're saying out, or it may be, are you really even saved in the first place? So it totally makes sense as it plays out.
Well, and I did throw out that other disclaimer. If you're on church 4 or 5 and it hasn't worked out, then church 6 or 7, it's not going to work out either. Mm. And I say this because the problem isn't the pastor, the problem isn't the worship, the problem isn't the children's ministry, the problem isn't the pews or lack thereof. The problem is you. Mm-hmm. And until you come, until you come to grips with, the issue is you, and you need to work on you. I said, take the lesson and take the model for Judas. Judas had the best teachers, saw the best miracles, and had the best accountability brothers you could ever have. And yet he still sold Jesus out for 30 shekels. So don't tell me the problem was everybody else. No, the problem was you. Peter, listen, Peter had the same problems. Peter got rebuked. Peter got called Satan. Peter literally cursed out a girl and denied the Lord 3 times when the Lord needed him most. But yet Peter, when time to be restored, when he heard the Savior's voice again, came repenting on knees. On bended knee. He came in. And so people need to learn the difference between a Judas and a Peter. You need to get rid of the Judases in your camp, and you need to restore the Peters. But people can't discern the difference. You got people sitting in those pews who are literal Judases, and you're letting Peters walk away. And we really need to be able to discern that difference. That's what I was making out. Mm-hmm. You will see the fruit of regeneration. And part of that regeneration is a longing and a yearning to be discipled, not to be entertained. And we got people who want to be entertained. Give us something. Give us a clickbait. Give us this. Give us that. Give us a one-liner. Give us something to post and tweet so we can show everybody we've been to church. No, walk it out. He said that you would live a life worthy of the call. Yeah. So I wanted to come in hot like that. I wanted to come in strong.
Well, Ben, you have the whole book of James to back you up. So,
I got a whole other book?
Yeah. I guess it's just, I agree with you. I guess, again, it's sometimes like we're talking about the delivery, like how does it come out? It's just like, whoa, I'm not a Christian. It's what I'm saying. Like I agree with you. I probably wouldn't say it that way personally, but I don't disagree with it.
I came out with 2 hymns and just came out swinging, didn't I? Literally, it was 2 songs and just came out swinging. What'd you think? What'd you think about what I said with that? Yeah.
Well, I think there doesn't have to be. I'll start. I think that if we're looking from the outside into a person's life, there are gonna be some things that should be telling us whether or not like they're in love with the Lord.
Okay.
So this was birthed out of a conversation I had yesterday with somebody after one of the services here, and she was asking me about some people, and she was like, well, are they going to go to heaven? And I was like, well, I don't know. And she was looking at me like, well, how do you not know? And I'm like, well, I don't know if this person's going to heaven. I was like, I don't know if the people who come into church every Sunday are going. Like, what's going on inside of you and your relationship with the Lord? Like, I know where I'm going. And outside of that, it appears you guys are doing good too.
Hey, you already know, brother. I'm just making sure I'm doing my best to help you, but I'm helping myself
But
first.
There's going to be some things along the way that make me go, yeah, I'll put another 5 on you going. Yeah, but for some people, I'm like, yeah, no. I'm not betting on that one. That horse ain't winning. And so so as you were saying that, that's kind of what I was thinking. It was more or less. I think that there's the word is not a benchmark, but the word I don't know how to really explain it. But there's going to be some things and some outwardly signs that you are making this relationship with the Lord like really yours. Like what areas of your life are you obeying? What areas of scripture are you allowing, or are you obeying? Are there areas that you're not obeying? And so this person in our conversation, there was a glaring area of somebody's life who they were not living in obedience. And so I would say based on that, it doesn't look like it's good because they're choosing to live a life walking in disobedience. Yeah. Anyway, so that was just kind of a conversation that she and I had after service in regards to somebody's salvation.
I think you guys bring up some very good points, and that's what I'm trying to get to, is I'm trying to say, it's interesting. Paul, if you go back and you read Paul's letters and you read the things he wrote, whether it was pastoral epistles, which, by the way, just for clarification, they were never really deemed that until I think about the 18th century, where they just started calling Titus and Timothy pastoral epistles, because it was more like a handbook to the young leaders on how to run a church, and so we gave them that kind of a cliche type thing. Type name. When you look at the letters to Corinthians, to Galatia, to Ephesus, or Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, when you look at these things, he keeps using the language of body. You're part of the body. Or he uses the language of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters. And it's really interesting because Paul is trying to drive it home. Like, you're a part of something bigger. You're part of the body of Christ. And Jesus is the head. This is very important. You are, you're birthed into a new family. Do you see where I'm going with this? And it's interesting because I don't think people catch that. Like, there is a huge paradigm shift. It's not like the family you grew up in. This is an eternal family. This is, Jesus is at the head of this. He sits at the head of the table. We all serve him. And so that's why yesterday I made it a point that reconciliation needs to be on display in the church more than anywhere else. So if you walk in here and you still got offense at your brother, I got to look at you a little different, because you are literally moving in a way opposite of the gospel, where Galatians 6:10 is very clear. You need to do good, especially, even more so, without hesitation or reservation, to those in the house of God. You see where I was coming from? That's why I'm questioning where they're at. And by the way, Matthew 7 should scare everybody. I don't care how close you think with Jesus. I know we like to preach hyper grace, but there are sometimes I read Matthew 7, I'm like, I got to do a quick salvation check here. Am I good, Lord? Are we good? Like, where's some sin that I got to work out here, or what's going on? Like there's some things. Like, somebody asked me one day, to say, what's going to surprise you about heaven? I said, let me tell you what's going to go on. There's going to be people, according to the parable I read of the Pharisee and of the beggar. Remember the Pharisee? Thank God I'm not a woman. And that, by the way, that's really what they say. And that I'm not like this guy, and I give. Remember, he starts touting all he does. And the beggar just goes, Lord, have mercy on me. I'm not even worthy. And what did Jesus say? And he will be with me for eternity. And the Pharisee goes, bye-bye. Whoa, hold on, wait a minute. So this is what I said. This is what I stand by. When we get there in heaven, you're going to be surprised at who's not there. And when people go to hell, they're going to be surprised on how they got there. Does that make sense? So I'm telling you, people, we in America, we've gotten too comfortable with hyper grace. We start using statements. You can belong before you believe. Well, what's the whole purpose of church then? Belong to what? What, you a club? What, we Rotary Club? What are we doing here? You see, that's where I was going with that. They're called demarcations. There's got to be certain signs, demarcations of that you're walking with Christ. And by the way, repentance, that is one of the main ones. Listen, let me ask you this. If he uses the whole family analogy, what he's trying to say is there's a structure to this. And you need the whole body, you need the whole family to help walk you through this, right? So the whole point I was going with that is, then who gets to speak into your life? The most people I talk to, like, well, I went on a drive and I was thinking about it. You really going to speak into your own life? You're the reason you in trouble, and you think you're going to be able to get yourself out of trouble. How much sense does that make?
People do it every day. I don't know. It don't make no sense.
Hey, I got myself into trouble, but I went on a long drive, and by golly gee willikers, I'm going to get myself out of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I grew up.
How'd that work? Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I know what that's like. Absolutely.
But the point is, you have people who've been there, done that, who have experience, who are there to help you, so you don't got to learn everything the hard way.
Well, I think even with that, like, I was listening to this past weekend, listened to the sermon, and just talking about authority in your life. And in a preacher's talking about is like, hey, if you don't, any legitimate authority that's in your life, if you're not following underneath that authority, don't expect anything from God. So he tells husbands to love your wife, and if you're not loving your wife correctly, don't expect to come to me and for me to hear your prayers.
How more blunt is that? He said prayers like what is it? Family Feud.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
So husband, you're not loving your wife, or wife, you're not submitted to your husband. Don't expect anything from God. You're not under any protection from God. He's not hearing your prayers, and that's any authority that's in your life. If God's put it there, you're not listening to that authority. Don't come to God expecting something. He's like, hey, how about you obey the person or be under the authority of the person I haven't put it in your life in the first place?
Why is that so hard?
Because you want to do whatever you want to do.
Is that just what it comes down to, right?
Yeah. I was talking to someone, they're like, man, why is my life sort of falling apart? Like, what were you doing before your life was falling apart? Well, you're doing all these good things. How about you go back to those things? And let's see what happens. But the big reason is like, man, why is it so hard? Because we're selfish. You want to do what you want to do, and a lot of times doing the right thing or listening to other people is death to yourself. Like, I don't want to do it that way. Like, that doesn't sound good at the moment. I don't want to have to care about my spouse. Like, I want to care about myself. How about you just take care of me and I don't care about everyone else? A lot of times we're just selfish. That's always the biggest issue.
So I bring all that up. Thank you guys for your input. I bring all that up. And please chime in. Leave it in the comment box. We're just talking about, understanding our roles in the church, and there are roles in the church, and there are things. Every pastor's got to have a pastor. Every leader's got to have a leader. This is very important stuff. This is what Paul's saying. I bring that up because we got to have a moment of honesty, and you guys need to come clean on the record. Okay, this is directed towards you two, because you two were throwing a little bit of shade over here on my boy Russell Brand. Russell Brand gave his heart to the Lord. And if I quote you guys correctly, and if we have to go back to the clips and play it, we will. Y'all were like, well, the jury's still out. We're not sure about it. Is he a cultural Christian? Did he just do this for, to get his name back in some shine again? Or what was he really doing? But, okay, are we going to be honest about that?
So you're putting 5 on him right now.
I'm putting 5.
Oh, okay.
I'm putting 5 on. Yeah, I'm putting 5 on it right now. I'm buying.
Yeah, you still the negative for Kanye. You could have put a lot of money down to come out that hole.
I bet the house, boy. Yeah. I bet the house on Kanye. You did me wrong, bro. Come on, man. I bet the house. Somebody say you bet the farm. I bet the farm. The farm. I am. I've got a long way to go, bro. But you weren't feeling Russell.
No, all we said is like, we just gotta be slow. We gotta be slow and just putting people on the pedestal.
We are. Somebody had.
And we didn't even know who the guy was.
That's true. Or
at least I didn't.
That's true. Somebody had just mentioned that to me too. Is we are quick to put athletes, we are quick to put movie stars, performers.
They can do so much for the kingdom. Like, they act like they're Jesus. They're going to save the world.
Right, musician. Yeah.
I saw a really great interview with C.J. Stroud, the guy, quarterback from Houston.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he wants to stop cussing.
Oh, okay.
But the whole premise of the interview was like, hey, this is all new to me.
Oh, so he wasn't growing up in church.
Or he wasn't, walking it out. And I thought that was really cool to hear from somebody because you look to them as though they're supposed to be like the pinnacle of an athlete, but then also the pinnacle of a believer as well.
But some of them aren't.
And he's like, I'm just trying not to stop cussing.
Like I love Dion, but my boy Dion's floundering right now. My boy Dion, he needs more mentoring. Once again, I'm going to go back to it. That's why you need pastors in your life. You have all these special trainers. Like on the Tom Brady roast, they were making fun of his special trainer.
Oh, the guy that stretches him or something?
Yeah, so they're making fun. He had a dietitian. He had a weight trainer. He had a stretcher. He had a masseuse, whatever it is. He had all these things. You got these top athletes. They have all these individual coaches. So why wouldn't you need one for your spiritual life? And then you wonder why the top athletes are the top athletes, because they do these individual things. Well, you wonder why some people grow more than others, because they have those coaches in their life. I'm glad you brought up the C.J. Stroud thing. Yeah, we automatically think just because he's so good in one thing, then he's going to be good in the other. The truth is they're not. They're really not. But we are quick to put these people out there. I will agree with you. I was the first one. I must have told 1,000 people to buy Kanye's album when it came out. You know what I mean? But you're right. I suck. Okay. But my point is, we are quick to do that. But I want to show you this clip from Russell, and I just want to get you guys to take, like, in my opinion, and I'll give you my opinion first and then watch it and you can argue with me. I feel like he's being discipled. Now, I don't know who's doing it, but it sounded pretty solid. And if I'm wrong and I'm only hearing what I want to hear, you guys can watch this clip and tell me. Leave it in the comments. All right, let's go.
In the figure of Paul, I have found so much inspiration and excitement and warmth and compassion, and indeed, obviously, the first apostle or significant apostle to transform posthumous to Christ's physical life. Full on 100% committed to the persecution and destruction of Christians to become the number one. This is my deal. I'm going to spread this everywhere, day and night. Oh, like through every possible permutation, jails, trials, shipwrecks, earthquakes, you name it, I'm into it. The book of Acts and then the subsequent letters blown my mind. It's blown my mind because of the character of Paul. Sometimes I think, well, man, that's just a human being like me. I can get into that. So I've gone from thinking that I am Jesus to recognizing I need Jesus and wanting to be like Paul, wanting to live for this thing, live for it like you need a revolution, live for it like not Christianity so I can fit in with the world, but Christianity so that I can become who I am in relationship to him, that we might change the world together with humility. First humility before honor. I mean, it's raining down on me.
What'd you think of that?
Yeah, no, it sounds good. And I hope it. I mean, I genuinely hope that he's a changed man. He's a super intelligent guy, well spoken, and I really do hope his faith stands. And
are you putting 5 on that? As Mike would say, I'm putting 5 on that right there. I listen. Either somebody coached
Sean grew up in a good home. He's not gambling.
Okay. Are you buying? I'm just saying. You could tell he chose those words wisely, but with enthusiasm. You're right. He's very articulate. But I'm saying I feel it's genuine.
No, it seemed like he really believes it. I mean, even in some things they say, I thought I was Jesus, and I realized
I need Jesus. If you know Russell, that's hilarious right there. He did.
And the idea of being humble is such a big thing of the Christian faith, that he understands that and recognizes that. It's a big deal.
Yeah. So. And just a point of clarification, just so everybody knows, Luke wrote the most words. Paul wrote the most books. It's very important for people to know that.
Luke and Acts are long.
Luke and Acts is very long. So, but Paul wrote the most books. So people get that confused because just how many books Paul wrote, but some of them are very short. So anyway, but he did very. I'm buying. Go. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, if this video is timeline wise, if it's coming after when
it is
right
the baptism,
and it seems like that was maybe a couple months ago.
It was earlier the part
he
of this
still.
year,
I mean, it's let's say all things are on the positive. This person really has a faith in the Lord. It's encouraging. It's cool to see. It's somebody on fire, somebody excited. He looks as though he's excited and it's new to him, and he's wanting to walk this out.
I'm saying that because, and like I said, maybe I saw some because I wanted to see it, and that happens, right? But I really feel like you could tell he's being discipled by somebody. You could tell somebody's taking the time to invest, and he's receiving that discipleship. Do you guys feel like I'm seeing just something I wanted to see?
How do you see that? Because he's obviously very intelligent. So how are you seeing that, and not just him doing a lot of reading?
Right. Most people, this is just my opinion, most people when they're that famous, when they're that well known, when they are a gifted communicator like that, they don't bring up the word humility. They don't. They want all that shine. And then he says, I don't want Christianity just to fit in. I want Christianity that transforms and changes the world. And we have to humility before honor. Nobody talks like that. Bro, he is so well known. His platform is so huge. Nobody ever throws out humility. They always lead with shine. They always lead with ego. They always lead in an arrogant, bombastic way. They don't throw out the word humility. And for him to sit down and do these interviews about faith when he was doing interviews about smoking weed and dropping acid and shrooms and drinking and being addicted to pornography, all this stuff, just go back and watch old clips of him and Bill Maher going back and forth. So I'm just saying, so for him, I could see evidence of Christ's light shining in him. And I hope I'm not wrong, but just no one talks about humility. When's the last athlete that ever came up and talked about, man, I'm just humble about what God's doing? No, they're sitting there going, I'm going to win that 200 bet. That gold is mine. This was the hard race. I'm just saying. And I'm not talking about being silent. Being silent is not humility. You could be a very hubris person, just not use words. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about leading and saying such bold statements on a platform that everybody's going to look at you now. He's just putting a bigger target on himself. That's why I said I could be reading into things, but I didn't grow up in a religious home. I'm putting 5 on it, okay? Yeah. So that makes sense. That's how I got that.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's very possible. I don't know. Does he have someone mentoring him? Hopefully he does. Maybe he does. I don't know.
There's my answer. Okay, so I have to bring something up because watching the Olympics yesterday, I had this little thing as much as I could because I was very busy during the Olympics. I like to watch the flag raising ceremonies. It's just what I do. First off, because I don't know all the flags, and so I like to watch it.
That just sounds boring.
And I like to hear the national anthems. Thanks, bro. You know, when you get older, you start doing boring things. Apparently,
do they raise every flag individually?
They raise. No, you only do the anthem for the gold medal winners, but they'll raise all 3 of the flags. It's really cool. I just think it's cool, and people take a selfie together.
Like at the end,
like at the end of the competition. Yes. They get the medals.
I thought you meant like have the opening ceremonies.
No. I just like to see it. I love the nations. I love the world. I would love to travel the world. That's just anyway. So lo and behold, you know, there was our very first viral clip that really got us in a lot of trouble. And people, this is when we started first being called Proud Boys, bigots, racist.
Maybe the first time you guys.
And so we had to take on Brittany Griner. We had to take a okay. So I'm gonna show everybody because we got a lot of people who follow us now didn't follow us. Then I'm gonna show everybody this very viral clip, and then I'm gonna show you what happens next. So sit with me. What was a bigger deal 3 years ago? Was BLM a bigger deal, or was the transgender movement a bigger deal? Think about that real quickly.
BLM.
Where's it at now?
Yeah, that was like their opening.
That's my point. Where's it at? Where's it at now? Where's BLM at now? You don't see it in the NBA games no more. Brittany Griner taking it in. You know that? She's saying she loves America again. She goes, hey, man, it hit different now that I'm free. Duh! Go out of the country. This is how I know you ain't traveled much. Go out of the country, go to a real oppressive place, and you're going to get back on a plane and come home. You know what you're going to think? Love me some America. It ain't perfect, but we getting some things right. Love me some America right here. That clip gained over 1 million views. You can look at the reshares, you can look at the comments, all the likes, everything. And people were roasting me over that. There was so many comments. He don't even look Mexican. What does that mean? Like what do I look then?
Maybe it was the winter time.
It was the winter. Oh, okay. I wasn't as dark as I am now. Okay, that's great. But anyway. Okay, I'll get off on a tangent on that. And people were like, you know, how could you say that? She was held captive. My whole point was, when you go to Iran, where you can't even drive, where you have to walk around, you know, fully clothed, and you can barely see out of your own burqa through, you know, for your eyes, all this stuff. Then, you know, Brittany being arrested in Russia and detained in a Russian prison where you don't get to call your lawyer, nobody gets to put money on your meal plan. Like, there's a whole different set of rules. Then you realize being here ain't so bad. And I don't know why people were giving me so much smoke over it. All I was simply saying was, you know, we got it. We're not perfect. I said that we're not perfect, but we're doing some things right. You're a professional athlete, for crying out loud. You're getting paid, maybe not as much as the men, but you're still getting paid to play a sport. And then she got released, and all of a sudden she's like, man, I'm starting to appreciate America. And then this happens on the gold medal ceremony of the flag being raised in Paris. Watch this. So I had the video. It got taken down. As you can tell, it was copyrighted. But I have some pictures. I want you guys to take a look at it. So there's a flag going up. And then the next one is Brittany Griner. And I want you to see the next one. She has her hand on her heart, and she has her eyes closed, and she's crying. She is literally grateful here to be an American and to be a part of that team and to be on, you know, foreign land. And that flag's going up. I mean, it hits different. And the reason I bring that up is I got in so much trouble for that previous clip because people were trying to tell me, first off, I'm misogynistic, I'm this, I'm that, and America's so oppressive, and blah, 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 blah. And that wasn't my point. My point was, when you go to a real oppressive place and you come back home, you're grateful. And so are you surprised Brittany Griner was hand over her heart, American flag, or you think she loves her some America now?
Yeah, no, she definitely loves her some America now. Yeah, absolutely.
Because she made a statement, right? Like, hey, I'm grateful to be home. And
yeah, I mean, and It doesn't, and I think if you were to ask her and she was to have a candid conversation, I'm sure that she would probably still say that there are things in America that she disagrees with, right? There are things that she wishes would be different.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Say that? Yeah.
And that's why these people who are so, I'm going to take a knee, or I'm anti-American this, anti-American that I think that's what they're missing. What they're missing is that people who are saying, I'm proud to be an American, we're not just saying everything is perfect. I'm just saying I'm proud to be an American. I'm glad I don't live in Russia.
Is that on your top 3 places to live?
No.
Oh, okay.
Russia's not on top 3.
Okay. I was just asking.
Not trying to go to Afghanistan. Not trying to go to Iraq.
That's
Iran.
not on top 10 either. That's not on the top 10 playlist right there. You trying to live in Iran?
No, anywhere where the majority of people are Muslims, I'm good.
You good? Yeah. You trying to stay away?
Yeah.
Okay, keep it positive. All right, there we go. Keep it moving. All right. Yeah. Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, are you surprised? Are you surprised by this turn of events here? These emotions?
No. I mean, it can be difficult. So people, I think she realized, okay, America has its issues, but it's a better place. You're safer here. You have more rights here. I think the struggle people find is like, you need to love our country. America is the best. It is the best. It's the best country to live in. But it also still has its problems. And people trying to balance, okay, I love America. I love the ideals it stands for. Now, how do I help this country meet those ideals of treating everyone equal in a different type of ways? So,
I just feel like there are people who don't like America who live in America, though.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And don't you find that weird?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I will personally buy you a ticket to Iran. Tell me how that works out for you.
Yeah, but also
it's a one-way ticket.
It's a one-way ticket, though.
But people can hear that as like, no, suck it up. But it's like the idea, like, no, things do need to always get better, but we still got a lot better everywhere else.
Oh, bro. And I remember when I went to Israel, and you guys weren't with me on this one, but I got yanked off the bus. And I got yanked off the bus with dudes with full-on M16s. Like, they yanked off the bus. They interrogated me. And I'm sitting there like the whole time I'm just thinking, I'm so scared right now. Even if I lied to you, I think I was telling the truth. Like, I'm that scared right now. Like, I have no idea. I was supposed to be catching a flight home. They yanked me off a bus. They took me away from everybody. I got 5 dudes around me. All 5 of them look like they want to kill me. I don't know. Do they want to kill me? Like, do I look like somebody? Is this face kind of too similar to somebody else's face? Like, I'm second guessing everything. Like, did you know anybody there? I don't think I know anybody. Like, I don't even know who the people on the bus are. Like, I'm just terrified. And it just got me thinking, like, yo, man, if you was back home in America, at least you can make one phone call. Like, you can call somebody, or somebody could pull out their phone and start recording. You're like, hey, at least I'll get paid. I'm over here thinking, man, I hope somebody's on the bus praying for me. Like, I'm so scared. Like, there ain't no rules and no rights.
You're about to put a bag over your head and stuff you in the back of the van.
Bro, I watched the dude get beat. Remember, you guys were with me. That dude got beat. You thought, man, in America, people be filming it. Get off him. Stop beating him. People were not filming nothing. They're like, hey, man, y'all better shove it. You're going to get beat. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, they
were beating his feet.
Bro,
they took his shoes off and started beating his feet.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, the first time I went to Israel, I came back home. When I touched America's soil, this brother got down on hands and knees. I was proud to be an American. Where at least I know I'm free, bro. I was happy to be home.
No, I got mad before we even got to Israel. We're in the LA airport and they're questioning me. I'm like, I'm freaking American. What the heck? Like, what are you doing right now? Why am I getting interrogated?
You can't talk.
And I'm still on U.S. soil. Like, what's going on here? I'm serious. I was like, this is ridiculous right now.
Can't talk to me like this.
And I didn't have any answers to their questions. I was like, I don't know.
But I just think it's like, and people get mad if you're not as amped up about hating America as they are. And I'm like, I'm not going to get there. I know it's got its problems, but I'm glad to be here. Okay, so I got to get to this segment I've been dying to get to. Literally, I came across this clip, and I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit of anger and a little bit of like caution, all in the same clip, because I see some things happen globally that I've got a heightened sense of awareness and concern. But I want to show you this clip because I think something's coming and we need to wake up to it. Since we talk about culture's influence on the church, the Western church, not as far as America, but going to the UK and what's happening in Europe, y'all got to see this. This is really serious. I want you to watch this clip.
The future of Islam in the West.
Alhamdulillah, the future is ours. Islam's going to spread. There's no doubt to it.
The west, east, north, south, it's all going to be Muslim. Yeah. Right? I have absolutely no doubt to that. The only question is, Rami, are me and you going to be a part of that, or are we going to be on the sidelines? Islam is not a spectator sport.
Yeah.
You got to step up. Everybody has tried to stop Islam. The Mongols. Alhamdulillah, they ended up becoming Muslim. All these empires had plans to finish Islam. Islam's not going anywhere. Al-aqibatu lil-muttaqeen. The end and the victory is going to be for the believers.
What do you think about that?
He's confident. I mean, he's wrong, but he's confident.
What was he wrong about?
You're not taking over nothing. You're going to lose at the end.
And when you so the people who are watching, when you say the end, what are you talking about?
No. At the very end, you're going to find yourself out. You're believing in a false god.
Okay, but what do you said he seems confident? What's he confident about though?
Well, I mean, they're confident that they, like you're saying, like they don't sit on the sidelines. They actually get out and do stuff, or they live out their faith. I mean, it's a wrong faith.
Yeah, it's a radical ideology. They're like he would he say you don't play from the sidelines or something like that, you know? Which
have you seen what's going on in the UK?
Mm-hmm. The rioting in the streets and stuff like that.
Have you seen?
Yeah, I wanted to look at it a little bit more. I just didn't have time. I got to see a little bit how they were going out against them. That the Muslims are coming out, literally attacking people with knives and stuff.
Hey, I showed you what was going on in Ireland. I showed you that. What's going on? Have you seen what's going on in Germany? Have you seen what's going on in France?
Who was it? Sweden or somebody like that said that they weren't allowing them back in or something like that.
They took over. You see what happened in New York? They took over Times Square to pray in the streets. I listen. I agree with you that in the end, but if you went by battles, we're losing some battles. These people are more committed than believers. They are more sold out for their faith than believers. I'm telling you right now, he's speaking truth. There should be a little bit of fervor, a little bit of a fire lit inside of us. They're not playing. Listen, they are not there to be entertained. There are no smoke machines. There are no lights. There's no fancy songs. There's no children's programs. There's no youth groups. There's none of that stuff. There's none of these big, mega church type things that we got to entertain and we got to do sermon series. We got to do everything. They stick to that Quran. They stick to that book. They indoctrinate very well, and they are sold out by a radicalization of what they believe in. They're so convinced they'll strap a bomb to their chest. They're so convinced that they'll go in, and it's an honor to die. The way you love life is the way they love death. I'm telling you right now, that's why it's a Muslim takeover. And unless the people of God grow a freaking backbone and stand up and say enough is enough, you're going to have what you have in Minnesota. I don't know why people are so big on Tim Waltz, whatever he is. Yeah. You guys are idiots. Look at what happened to those cities. There are places where that prayer rings out, that Muslim prayer rings out over loudspeakers, where whole city councils. Remember we showed that segment where the gay people were like, hey, what happened to our rights? We warned you. We told you. You are not gay in Gaza. You're not parading around with a rainbow flag and thinking there's gay for Gazas. You're an idiot. If you think that's how it is, you ain't ever been to Gaza. You don't know what's going on. I'm telling you right now, there is some truth to this. We're going to win the eventual war. But I'm telling you, how many battles are we going to lose? This is what I'm saying. If you don't get ready to buck up, if you don't get ready to man up, if you don't get ready to defend yourself, he ain't lying.
I think, if it goes that direction, I think hopefully, you'll see real Christians stand up and oppose this.
Well, don't get caught slipping. Don't be one day too late. You gonna wait for them? You gonna wait for them to be on your doorstep?
What are you insinuating?
No, that they will sort of almost try to take over, like in terms of like policy and how like literally like their praying is ringing out over the city.
Yeah, well, I think that's already started with like if that step, like let's say it's like a 10-step process, right? Like I think that may be step number 10, but I think that it's already started. Just like the way that they've tried to, to think 10 years ago that you would have people in all the letter community, the LGs and all that, be on the same side as a group that literally opposes every belief that they have. And now they're like chummy best friends. Now, obviously the Muslims wouldn't say that, but you got this whole other group believing that we're friends. No, you're not friends. But they believe that. And so like, and how much power the people in the LGBT and all that community, how much power they have politically right now in the States, how much power they have in the media. They're almost like pushing forth the agenda of the Muslim faith, even if they don't realize it. And that's why I said they may not be at 10 right now, but it's definitely started.
Yeah, because the biggest threat to all of these people, like to Muslims, to the LGBT community, is Christians. So that's why they team up together. Because we still have the numbers. We still have them. But the thing is, like Pastor Anthony's saying, like, are people actually going to speak up and stand out and actually have a voice and actually show force? Then that's why they're willing to team up together, because they can't do it by themselves.
Yeah, and so you get the church to fracture. And you get the church to not be in unison when it comes to biblical things.
Yeah, it's a bunch of weak pastors. That's why my biggest issue to have, and especially with black pastors, is like, stop calling yourself a pastor and yet but you team up with these other sides. Just go do something else. Like, I don't care, but stop calling yourself a pastor because you make the church weak. And it's like, no, you need to stop choosing the color of your skin over your faith. And that's what a lot of churches are doing. It's like, and we're getting weaker and weaker in that way.
We are, and that's my concern. My concern is, I agree with you. We're not at a 10, but the inertia started, the movements happen. We're at 1s and 2s. Like if you say anything about Islam, then you're an Islamophobe.
Yeah, and I don't care. I will say stuff about Islam and about them. They're, according to the Quran, these are evil people. Not all the people in themselves individually isn't evil, but their faith is evil. Period. I don't care if people come in whatever they want. They can come to my doors. I don't care. It's evil. And Christianity is the only. But the thing with Christianity, the issue that we have, is that we're to love people and care for people. But we have to realize that at what point do we take a stand and we have some type of force to stand against this. Right. But the problem is, I think even what you see with different people who leave the faith is like, they're like, what's the one, the guy I hate, the bald-headed dude? Andrew Tate. Yeah. His big thing, he wants to Islam because it feeds his inner inner ego. And you have to find a way, like, how do I stay humble and stay into my faith, but yet fight against these other forces?
But Christianity didn't start out that way. Christianity started out being a man's religion. And what I mean by a man's religion, it was an honor to die. Now every Christian I know is afraid to die. As if our Lord and Savior was afraid to die. He looked death in the eyes and he whooped it. None of the apostles were afraid to die. And we've lost that edge. I'm saying they have what we used to have. They have that fire. We don't got that fire. We're too busy complaining whether or not we were entertained. You got people geofencing. You got people trying to, more concerned about the latest album than you are your latest neighbor. Like, I mean, we got issues here. That's what I'm saying. We don't have no fuego no more. We don't got no fire. We're complaining, this pastor didn't platform me. I don't give a rip. Build your own table, invite people to it. Go win your neighbors to the Lord. Go pack up and sell everything you own. Where's the radicalization of our own faith? We're no longer radical. We're wimps. We're wimps. Oh, I don't like that pastor because he called me out on something. Man, I was going to say something. Say something that really, that you put 5 on me, huh? Right there. Bro, we've lost the edge. We lost the eye of the tiger. I could teach you so many biblical lessons from Rocky. You lost the eye of the tiger. We're too busy about photo ops. We're too busy about building a big church. We need big people. We need people who can withstand some rain. We need people who can withstand some storms. We need people who have a spiritual fire lit under them, that they're ready to go evangelize the world. We've lost it. Courage doesn't come with your degree. You gotta find it. And we've lost the courage in the church. These guys got it. They got fire, man. A game recognized game. They believe in what they're doing. They believe it. Or do we believe it? Are we convinced?
I agree with you. I mean, one of my big takeaways, I don't even know if you preached this. I don't know how I got to this point yesterday, but my big takeaway is having zeal for the faith. And that was my thing. It's like, I need to have more zeal to live up my faith. And however they may look, whether they're reading or praying or meeting with people, all these different types of ways, sharing my faith. Like, I need to have more zeal. Because people say, like, hey, they're willing to die for the faith. To me, that's a cop-out. You willing to die for your faith? To me, this is weak. Are you willing to live out your faith? Because, I mean, that's a daily grind. To strap a bomb to yourself, to me, that ain't that courageous. I have to be honest with you. I'm like, you're just a coward. living out your faith daily, loving your wife, saying no to yourself, loving your kids, that is very difficult to do. But to say, oh, I'm going to stop on my best and go be with whatever 15 virgins, you're a coward.
Yeah,
but as Christians, we got to have the zeal to live out our faith.
Yes.
And this is how it looks. We need to have the healthiest families. We need to have the healthiest churches. We need to be the best employees. We need to be able to share our faith. People are going to say, what's different about those people? And we're going to have the most power. But it has to be that zeal. You're right.
Okay, so let's end off this way. How can we add some wood to the fire? How can we get these flames burning brighter? What's something, if somebody's watching right now before this Muslim takeover happens, what can we do as believers to really up our intensity, up our zeal? What would you say? Like, I don't care if you want to just reference somebody from the Bible. I don't care if you got a verse, but give me something that I can share with somebody. Like, hey man, you trying to get your fire lit? Watch this, or tune into this, or listen to what Mike had to say. Go ahead and give us something.
I would say one of the things that really pushes me is living not only for myself but living for my kids. Okay. And I think that most people can resonate with that. Is, you know, people say, "Oh, it's not going to happen in my generation." Okay, so you're cool with it happening in the next generation? Like you're cool with leaving that legacy for your kids? So it doesn't reach a 10 when it comes to Muslim faith and the Muslim quote-unquote takeover before I die, but maybe it will for my kids. But as long as it's not me, like, I'm good. And so maybe allow that to motivate you. Maybe allow that to push you to be a little bit more radical in sharing your faith with your kids and reading the word with your kids. You just watching TV and highlighting certain things that come up. You know, like when we watch movies or when we watch TV with the kids, like I'll pause it or I'll say, "Hey, did you recognize that? Did you see that? Are you seeing what they're doing here?" And we'll have conversation about it because I want them to be able to see differently than what the other kids in their class are seeing. I want them to be able to think differently. And so maybe one of the things that you have to do to push yourself to be more motivated is to know that, like, whatever legacy, you have the ability to determine the legacy that your kids are going to have after you pass away.
What you got, Bishop? I like that. That was good.
Honestly, it's sort of the same thing, but also it's like, you know, not being a lazy parent. A lot of times I don't want to talk. So it's like, I need to talk to my kids. So simple things like that is really what I'm talking about. But so that I don't go the same thing as Mike is really be okay challenging other people to live out their faith. Sometimes I could be a little bit like soft or like not really want to push people. Even though I would do it myself, but I'm like, this is kind of hard. I don't want to push you in that position, but really being okay to people saying, avoiding me. You know, I don't want to talk to Deshaun because he's going to tell me to do this, or I should be doing this. Like, and really pushing people to live out their faith because I think it's worth it. And really having the belief that it's worth it. And that, hey, I'm going to push you and tell you to do this because I know if you do it, you're going to look back and say, hey, man, it was worth it. So not being afraid to do that.
I think both of those, thank you so much, guys. I think people can benefit and grow from that. And y'all need to tune into that part right here. So here's my take. You gotta know who you're rolling with. If you're rolling with a bunch of compromised, lukewarm people who are soft and at every given chance and at every whim will choose to take the coward's way out and not live courageously in their faith, then that's going to rub off on you. I was often told if you really want to do something big for God, then you got to get on fire. And when you get on fire, you're going to watch as other people come around, they're either going to catch fire or they're going to get burned. Those who get burned are going to walk away and be like, you're too much. And those who catch fire, those are your new homies you're going to run with. Because if you catch fire and they catch fire, I'm telling you right now, you're ready to turn the world upside down. I want to get back to that. I want to roll with some people who are feeling so confident that we're packing water guns ready to go to hell and just go snatch people from the fire. I want people so confident that they're going to catch Moby Dick that they bring their Snoopy pole and some tartar sauce. I want to be so confident that what we're doing, that the gates of hell won't prevail. But I got to have people who are down. I got to have, there's that old saying, you want to be a frogman. That's a Navy SEAL, right? And there's a way that you live your life. No, I want to be a believer. And there's a way that we live our life. That there ain't no cost too high. There ain't no valley too low. There ain't nothing that our Lord and Savior cannot ask us that we're not down for. If it's to leave everything, then let's go. Let's leave it all. If it's to give our life, then we give our life. If it's to go and to bleed for the gospel, then we bleed for the gospel. I want that fire. But in order to get it, I got to hang around people who got it. I can't be the only one on fire because it's much easier to get pulled down than it is to pull people up. You need to find some people who are down for the cause. You need to find some people who are ready to roll with you. You need to find some people who are ready to turn this world upside down for Jesus. And when you got that crew, look out, devil. We about to stir up some trouble. We about to do what God has called us to do. Find your tribe and go turn the world upside down. This has been the Not Offended Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. We're out.